Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Cozy Acres. The last couple of days, I've talked about some shade plants that you can grow in an Oregon coastal garden. We've also gone over some native berries that you can also grow. And today, we're going to talk about the kings and queens of an Oregon coastal garden. Shrubs and bushes that are easy, wonderful, and just are a must-have. So let's get to it today. The kings and queens of a coastal garden. All right, number 3 on the list would be this plant right here. We have two excellent examples of a plant that grows prolific around here. I wouldn't say it's deer resistant, but for other pests it is. The deer do come on occasion and like to eat the new growth and the new shoots. But anyhow, number 3 on the list, hydrangeas. These are two examples. This one right here is pistachio. This one right here is Nico. We also have a returning. We thought we'd lost this one, but this one right down here is city limits. But anyhow, number 3 on the list, hydrangeas. And I will show you a couple of examples that we have here in the garden, just for entertainment purposes. So let's go look at a couple of other examples of placement of hydrangeas. So here's a pretty excellent example of a hydrangea that isn't just your typical. It's not, green leaf with pretty flowers. This one right here is a red leaf, and I don't recall the name of it, but I will look it up for everyone and have it posted up on the screen for you guys. But beautiful, beautiful little flowers, different color, adds different shade to your garden, and in itself is among all of the others. We have it, let me move back here so you can get a larger overview of how it all ties into this particular space. So here you have it. We have to the right of your screen here, right there, that is a burning bush. Of course, there's the hydrangea, and then here and here are both dragon plants. And then of course on this side, we have 1, 2, 3 white hydrangeas. Everything kind of ties in. So now we have color, we have shape, we have texture, and it just flows. And these plants, I'm telling you, we do little to them. Prune them during the beginning of the season, you deadhead them, and they just absolutely gorgeous. So anyhow, there's a excellent example of some hydrangeas that are not like the Nico, which you can see like right here on the edge. This thing is absolutely massive. And then right there is the pistachio. So let me pan so you can see across the way of the creek and see how it all ties into the bank over there. So there you have it. Hydrangeas up front, hydrangeas in the back. Telling you folks, they are wonderful. All right, on to another example of a hydrangea in the garden. All right, folks. So this one right here in front of the camera is another type, different texture. This area I have yet to weed, so I apologize. It's a little messy over here right at this moment, but anyhow, this right here is an oak leaf hydrangea. We have a red and we also have a white. And the way it works is the red blooms white, and then as it ages, the flower turns colors. The leaves themselves act like kind of like an oak tree throughout the seasons. They start off beautiful green, as you see right now, and then as when the fall starts to begin, they start to change color to where they just turn into a very vibrant orange and some red, and then of course they lose their leaves. This one is an excellent, excellent shade plant, bush, and a wonderful addition and a different type. I have 3 of them here. The missus went and found them, and they are just absolutely beautiful. She loves them. She's really the one that picks them out. I just dig the holes around here and place them in. But anyhow, we have one right in front of the camera, and then we have one over here, and then one right there. In the middle there, that right there is a lily of the valley bush to add texture and contrast to this area here, aside from having the weed. But anyhow, yeah, there you go. Hydrangeas, the number 3 bush shrub that you need to have and grows well in an Oregon coastal garden. All right, folks, let's get into the number 2 must-have in an Oregon coastal garden. And this would be the king of the garden, to me anyways. I refer to another one, the number 1 plant, when I get to it, as the queen of the garden, since she introduces herself to everyone. She's very regal, and yeah, we'll get to that here in a minute. Anyhow, the number 2, Azalea, part of the Rhododendron family, I do believe, and they are wonderful. There are 2 types, and I have examples of both types sitting right here in front of this camera. To the left, amongst all the weeds right here, this right there is a evergreen azalea. Also, this one over here is a evergreen, and then right in this middle is a deciduous. The difference is the evergreen, the leaves stay on throughout the entire year. The deciduous, this one right here, it loses its leaves during the wintertime and then regrows. You get a better variety of colors, so you get the oddball colors. So with the evergreens, you get the pinks, the purples, the reds, and the whites. With the deciduous, you can get the oranges, peaches, yellows. So in this case, this one here is more of a, oh, I don't even know. It's kind of it's a red, orange, very beautiful. I absolutely just adore this plant, and it is now in bloom when the evergreen is now finished. So just as it is with the rhododendrons, you have different cycles of bloomage, and this is no different. Here it is, the middle of May, going on until really the 3rd week of May. Most all of the evergreen azaleas are done blooming. As you can tell, you don't see any flowers on there. Whereas the deciduous is just now starting to pick up, and it'll probably last for a month and a half. Number 2, azaleas. Here we are with the number 1 easiest, best, simplest plant to grow in a Pacific Northwest Oregon coastal garden. These things are almost impossible. I wouldn't say impossible because I have lost one due to disease, but these things are almost indestructible. They grow very well, grow fast. The plant that's in front of you right at this moment is only 4 years old, and it just explodes. The first year was a little slow. The second year, I think it grew maybe a foot. And then in the last 2 years, this is what it's done. And this is an absolutely gorgeous specimen. I love it. So let me show you a couple other examples of the rhododendron. So I just got done showing you the yellow, which is an odd one, if you ask me. My mother had bought it for us as a gift, and it was advertised as being yellow. And then the first year that it grew, it was interesting because it really wasn't yellow, and I would imagine it's due to the ground, the nutrients in it. You know, some people like it with the Nico. It'll be, you know, pink, brilliant pink, or it will be a cobalt blue, depending on the acidity of the of the of the ground. And since I am in a natural forest, real loomy, I think I have a lower acidity in this particular area. But here is another example. The leaf texture on it, it's a lot smaller. It's a little more dense. And it has a different structure altogether. This was one of the original plants when we bought this house. It was already pretty much established. This is the first time I've ever seen this particular plant bloom. And as you can see, it's got two beautiful purple and light purple flowers on it. So with the rhododendrons, you need to start shaping them after they lose their blossoms. So with this one, I can't do anything with it right at this moment because it's in bloom. It's doing its thing. But I'm going to come back and I'm going to trim these lower areas right here, so that way I can got some more area underneath here for the sunlight to get to it. This particular area on this side of the property is super heavily shaded. Obviously, you can see the fir trees right behind it. The sun comes in over here, so it's all shade throughout the entire day, and then it sets over on this side of the world. I'm just showing you which way the sun comes and goes. There is no direct sunlight on this particular plant, so I'm surprised it's even blooming, to be honest with you. Normally, it's just a really beautiful, thick-leaved rhododendron. So a lot of texture for this particular area. But anyhow, I'm going to trim it so that way there's more exposure to light underneath of it, because we intend on adding, believe it or not, more hydrangeas, more azaleas in this area, to start filling it in and start to get some color back here. So another excellent example of a rhododendron. On to the next one. So here you see, instead of being more of a bush, this one is more of a, I would say, a smaller tree for this area. This one, again, had very little sunlight. It very rarely ever bloomed. Last 2 years, I had one blossom set last year, and this year I had 3 blossom sets this bloom. This one, it's already finished. I'm not going to do any trimming on it. Maybe if I do, it'll be like down here to get this lower half done out of the way to expose some more sunlight for the area behind and below. But anyhow, this one right here is a white with a very, very, very splash of, I would say, like peach or red or pink. I would say maybe pink. But anyhow, so here is another example of how you can trim the plants to add structure, but yet still have the beauty of the rhododendron. So let's go to one. Well, actually, the next ones I'm going to show you is in bloom. This is one of the last rhododendron sets to bloom in our yard, and she puts on a grand final show for us. All right, folks, so here are the 3 same color rhododendron. These plants, every other year to every year, I trim the bottom half to get the sunlight underneath here, because we're getting ready to plant azaleas and some more hydrangeas underneath here. The original way that these rhododendrons were, the branches were physically touching the ground. We've been slowly moving them up, and it has helped these trees. They are starting to get much more blossoms on them, and they're starting to be much more vibrant. Also, in the back end of these plants, they're starting to sprout out. So in other words, I'm literally trying to move their canopy backwards and more straight up instead of bent over and down. But here is a beautiful example of why we love rhododendrons. They're gorgeous. And let me take you over here to get a real good close-up of some of the flowers on these plants. Folks, that's just gorgeous. They're beautiful. Let me see if I can find one that's got more than one plume of a blossom on it. Well, here you go. So there is the final stage. If I can get it without seeing the sun right in my eyeballs. So there you go. Beautiful pink and white. Gorgeous. All right, on to the next examples. All right, folks. So I'm just going to say right off the bat, but mind you, on this side of the property, we've let it go just a little bit. This was much more manicured at one point in time. Been busy going here, doing this and doing that, and paying attention to the main garden and the vegetable garden and all of that good stuff. This side of the property has been badly neglected, and we'll get back to it. It's not going to take long to straighten it back up. But I was telling you earlier that normally that these rhododendrons, they are pretty much some of the easiest growing and least affected by much of anything. But if you can see right in the middle, there is a dead rhododendron. It did get diseased. This one was a beautiful purple. Oh my goodness. I really miss it. And we replanted another underneath of it. I'll get it up close to it. But anyhow, we have a red, a purple, and a pink right here. And now we have a new red one that's just now starting to grow down below it. So I need to get in here with the chainsaw. I need to cut this down, get it cleaned up, and I'll probably end up propagating another purple that we have on hand here and restore this, because the red and the purple together is just absolutely gorgeous. But here is another example of rhododendrons. And let me get in a close up to the red one so you can see what it looks like as a flower. A much smaller flower, a larger grouping. This one here is just now starting to also become full and blossom. So not all of them are up, but another gorgeous, gorgeous flower. It's beautiful. And then the back half of this, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of hard because it is way up there and the sun is coming in right in that area. But I don't know if I can. I cannot. But anyhow, there's the purple. And that purple is I do believe off of that dead rhododendron that I need to work on, and that, of course, there's the branch right there. So, yeah, and then the pink right behind it. Mound them up, folks. Oh, and there's our new one right there. So mound them up, put them together, so that way you have contrasting colors, and it builds shape. It's just wonderful. Rhododendrons. And now let me go show you some shorter ones. All right, folks, so here is an example of a rhododendron that needs to be weeded around. I have a lot of those. I have a lot of work around here. But anyways, the wife has really been awesome coming through, and she does sections. So right now she's worked her way around, and now it's time to come back through. So this is one of the next sections that needs to be done. But anyways, this one right here has a white flower on it as well. And I don't have any, I think I have some pictures of this that I'll post on there. Most all of these rhododendrons, I have pictures of them in full bloom, so that way you can see what they look like. But this one right here only grows to, I think it's like 3 feet tall and about 5 feet wide. So this will fill this area in lovely without being too tall. Placement, height is important for us around here. We want to reduce a lot of the weeds that we have, so we're trying to plant to minimize. Plus we want plants that have flowers for our pollinators, and this is one of them. Very early bloomer. I think this one put on, let's see here, April, I think it was. Yeah, this is April. So early April, this one had its flowers, and it's already done. All right, let me move us to the next examples. All right, here's another example of a short hedge that we're creating with the rhododendrons. You can see right in front of us, this one right here. There's another one right here, and then there's one right here, and then there's one right back there. These here grow to about 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall, 6 foot wide. So we're going to build a arch hedge right here, and they are supposed to be a deep purple, like almost, I want to say almost black, but it's just going to be a really deep dark purple. This is its 3rd year in. They are a little slower, and we're in the process of clearing the weeds again right in this area. This is one of our problem child areas, so we're in the midst of recovering. But anyhow, here is another low rhododendron. Beautiful flowers on them when we get a chance to see them. Right now it's still developing the plant, still too young yet, but we'll get there. So another example. And then right behind me is right here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but right here, again, we're in this area that needs to be weeded. That used to be a tree, or really a large bush, about 7 foot tall. We had one of the trees fall and damage this, so I cut it down all the way, and we are now in the process of regrowing it. Then the final queen of the yard, and I will show you when this thing is in full bloom. She announces spring. So there you have it, folks, right there where the sun is at. Oh my gosh, really? Let me move it. There you go. That right there is our red rhododendron tree. That ain't no bush. It never was a bush, I don't think. And I barely touched this I do some small trimming underneath to keep the canopy up. She announces spring. We know when she comes into bloom, we can start planting in the ground, start getting our gardens ready, and so on and so forth. This is the most beautiful rhododendron I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Just a gorgeous plant. But anyhow, I will show close-ups of this, but there is the final example of a rhododendron in the yard as a centerpiece, I would say. And as you can see, the hydrangeas underneath of it, which is what we're trying to spread. So that way we have a full bank that's just loaded with color, with the kings and queens of the yard. All right, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and comment. Until then, y'all have a beautiful day.